from the front, the Aston Martin Rapide possesses similarly bewitching good looks as the rest of the luxury marque's range of sports coupes. It's only when seen from the side that the difference becomes obvious. It has an extra pair of doors, making it a rival to other luxury sports saloons such as the Bentley Flying Spur, Maserati Quattroporte and Porsche Panamera. The Aston Martin offers the best of those three: the drivability of the German, the style of the Italian, and the exotic 12-cylinder powerplant of its British rival. Only one engine choice. Unlike rivals, there is only one choice of engine, a 5.9-litre V12 which offers up 560 horsepower sent to the rear wheels via an 8-speed Touchtronic 3-automatic gearbox. It's a thrilling engine with a high-pitched, metallic howl when pushed, plus a smooth and linear power delivery that builds and builds with seemingly unending strength until the red line. This is a properly outlandish powertrain, the likes of which are rarely seen in a production car this side of a Ferrari or Lamborghini. One trim level, lots of options. There's plenty of standard kit thrown in with the Rapide S. Expect 20-inch alloys, leather interior and sat-nav on all cars. From there the sky's the limit, with huge amounts of personalization available, including a wide palette of paints, lots of different interior trims and swathes of carbon fiber on offer. The Aston Martin Rapide does lag behind its rivals slightly in the tech department however, with no autonomous safety kit or brighter LED headlights on offer. Sublime ride and driving characteristics. The one area where the Rapide has its competitors tagged is in the handling stakes, where the Aston Martin shrugs off its size and weight to adopt the agility of a much smaller car. Despite its rewarding drive, the four-seater also rides smoothly and would be a comfortable companion on a long-distance journey. There's not as much space in the back as you get in a Porsche Panamera, but there's enough room back there for all but the tallest of adults. The verdict: if you want to be analytical about it, the rivals of this car are more attractive on paper. They're either cheaper, faster, more spacious or technologically advanced, or all four in the case of the Porsche. The thing is though, this Aston Martin feels like a car you buy with your heart, its massive engine offering a considerable amount more character than anything else in this market. It's also strikingly beautiful to look at and a real pleasure to drive, with an unusually rewarding power delivery and handling on UK roads for a car so capable of high speed. Massive V12 motor defines the drive, linear power delivery and soulful noise. 8-speed gearbox is quick and accurate. Choosing an engine for your Aston Martin Rapide is an easy, although a bit restrictive, process because there's only one on offer, a 5.9-litre V12. Sonorous V12 engine. For some time now this massive 12-cylinder motor has come to define the Aston Martin experience. Few manufacturers, Italian supercars aside, offer a naturally aspirated, large displacement engine like this. Rivals like the Porsche Panamera may offer a similar amount of power to the 560 horsepower you get in the Rapide S, but none serve it up in such a deliciously smooth, linear way. While the turbocharged Porsche hits you hard in the back, the Aston Martin just gathers alluring pace until the rev counter needle hits the red line. It's a much more refined experience that your passengers will enjoy, plus it makes it easier to control the car mid-corner. Big motor thrives on revs. Big power comes in at a lofty 6,650 revolutions per minute, while 620 Newton-meters of torque arrives at 5,500 revolutions per minute. The unusually long travel throttle pedal makes it easy to modulate, and feels wonderfully satisfying to flatten into the carpet, accompanied by a metallic howl that gets louder and louder as the speed increases. Unusually for a car with a 203 mph top speed, the Rapide S feels very alive at lower velocities. Perhaps its best feature is how much fun you can have without risking your license. It's quick off the line too. 0 to 62 mph drops in a mere 4.4 seconds thanks to the rapid-firing 8-speed Touchtronic 3-automatic gearbox, which swaps ratios in the blink of an eye. This transmission is the same as you'll find in the Aston Martin Vanquish and works well with the engine to make sure you're always in the right gear. Both can be sharpened up by pressing the Sport Mode button, or further still by taking control of the column-mounted paddles. Hold the left one while decelerating and the car will keep you in the best gear for when you need to get back on the gas. Shadow Edition offers more power. In addition to the standard car, you can pick the Shadow Edition, which comes with 573 horsepower. You also get a sports exhaust, which should turn the volume of the engine up to 11. Well-judged handling offers comfort and sportiness. Hydraulic steering is weighty and full of feedback. Huge amount of mid-corner poise for a big car. Despite being pitched as a more relaxed Grand Tourer, the Rapide still wears an Aston Martin badge, and that means there's an expectation of sportiness it needs to fulfill. It does so remarkably well, virtually slimming down its 2-ton mass with agile handling that makes it seem like a much smaller car. The Rapide will reward a committed cornering speed with neutral poise, but if you go in slower the front wheels will protest first. There's a lovely mechanical feel to the hydraulic steering, which offers plenty of feedback, weight and accuracy, making you feel confident enough to push on after only a short time behind the wheel. The flip side of this is a bit of kickback through the wheel and a tendency to seek out cambers when you're on a rough road, but this only goes to help build a picture of the asphalt below the wheels. 3-stage active dampers do their best to iron out lumps and bumps and for the most part work very well. There's no getting away from the firm, taut feeling to the chassis, so leaving the suspension in its normal mode, rather than sport or track, helps it flow better over undulating surfaces. The brakes offer lots of bite but are progressive enough to modulate easily. Plus, if you delve into the various traction control modes, there's a setting with reduced ABS function for more experienced drivers. We did suffer from some grumbling when braking at low speeds, however. For the most part you'll want to leave the traction control on. This is a long and heavy car with plenty of power going to the back wheels and your passengers won't enjoy watching you wrestling against massive oversteer. The traction control will step in to tame the rear wheels early on corner exits, but happily there's a half-off sport setting which lends the Rapide a bit more adjustability, if you'd rather have more of a say in the way the car reacts when you get back on the power. All in all, the Rapide is a really fabulously satisfying thing. Either waft around in or drive quickly on your favorite road, you'll soon forget all the texture metalwork looming behind you. Fabulous driving position and dials. Some cheaper feeling switches and stalks center console dials and fonts don't match newer Aston Martins such as the DB9 benefit from Mercedes-Benz tech, while the Rapide follows a design and specification largely unchanged from the older DB9. It's not that it has a particularly bad interior, it's just some of the switchgear doesn't quite live up to the mechanical precision found elsewhere, namely under the bonnet. There's a cheap feeling clickety-clack to plastic stalks for the indicators and wipers, and the column-mounted gearshift paddles, although metal and well-sized, have a long throw and clunky noise. The buttons and dials on the center stack do their job as you'd expect, so it's easy to ignore the fact they're a bit of a mismatch of shapes and fonts. A set of extremely precise-looking dials are the exception. They look fantastic, although a little unconventional. The rev counter and speedo needles sweep in opposite directions, and the speedo goes up to 220 miles per hour, so you'll really use more than a third of it. Luckily there's a bold digital speedo for more exact readings. Also good is the spot-on driving position, hunkered down and hemmed in, with the steeply raked windscreen offering a purposeful letterbox view of the world outside. Taller drivers may find the steering wheel obscuring the very top of the dials, however. The sat-nav is easy to program using the big center dial on the dashboard, and the air conditioning can be set up for the whole car from the front seats. Suspension offers plenty of cushioning supportive seats, but their thinly padded engine is hushed until you call upon its upper reaches given its more practical, country crossing potential. You won't be surprised to hear that the Aston Martin Rapide offers decent ride comfort from its steel-sprung suspension. Adaptive dampers give you the choice of normal, sport and track settings, getting progressively firmer as you scroll through the modes. In truth, the Porsche Panamera's optional air suspension gives it a softer ride, but the Aston Martin's taut, purposefully firm setup keeps you better dialed into the changing road surface. The grippy bucket seats aren't particularly squashy but offer great support, so you emerge from a long drive remarkably back pain-free, and those in the back are held in place even tighter than front seat passengers. Thanks to double glazing on the windows and extensive noise-baffling material, the cabin is nicely hushed on the move. There's a bit of wind noise on the motorway and some creaks and rattles from inside our test car though. The engine is very quiet at low revs and really only gets vocal from 3,000 revolutions per minute onwards. Otherwise it just whirs away under the bonnet with zero vibration transmitted through the controls. Lots of standard equipment including sat-nav, many options to personalize your car. Special Shadow Edition adds power and a sports exhaust. There's one standard trim level and a whole world of personalization to choose from here, with plenty of kit included. Standard Aston Martin Rapide coupe equipment. Externally the Rapide S boasts 20-inch alloys and LED side lights and tail lamps, while the headlights are bi-xenon with no LED upgrade available. Inside there is a wealth of luxury upholstery including leather everywhere, a walnut facer trim, and graphite center console finish. There's an auto-dimming rear-view mirror, power folding door mirrors, front and rear parking sensors, automatic front and rear climate and cruise control. The front seats are electrically operated and feature 3 memory positions, and all 4 chairs are heated too. A hard disk-based sat-nav is displayed on a fold-out 6.5-inch screen, as a DAB radio and USB/Bluetooth audio compatibility. Optional Aston Martin Rapide Coupe Extras. This is where things get really interesting with a huge amount of optional equipment to make your Rapide really stand out. Outside there are alternative 20-inch wheels to shroud either grey, black, red, silver or yellow brake calipers, a carbon fiber exterior pack taking in the front splitter, rear diffuser, door mirror caps and rear tail light infills, separate carbon fiber door handles and black textured tailpipe finishes. Inside you can pick between lots of facer trims including, but not limited to, piano black, mahogany and carbon fiber, plus perforated leather door inserts, embroidered headrests, ventilated front and rear seats, carbon fiber gearshift paddles, and twin-screen rear seat entertainment system with DVD player. There's also a fantastically expensive but wonderfully clear Bang & Olufsen stereo, with 1000 watts of power and 2 speakers that rise up out of the dashboard dramatically when you start the car. Aston Martin Rapide S Shadow Edition. Finally, there's a special edition of the Rapide S called the Shadow Edition, which adds a bit more power and comes in ultramarine black, Solon silver, or scintilla silver with a dark night, Sahara tan, or obsidian black interior. Complementing the more purposeful looking exterior, you also get a meaner sounding sports exhaust to announce your presence. Aston Martin Rapide S not crash tested by Euro NCAP. 2 ISOFIX mounts in the rear hidden by a removable seat section or the basic safety kit, but no autonomous tech or LED headlights like most high-end cars. The Aston Martin Rapide has not been tested by Euro NCAP, so it's hard to say how it'd fare in a crash, but it does come with all the basic standard safety kit including 2 ISOFIX mounts in the rear. These are accessed by pulling a small section of the seat away, which is a bit alarming at first but means you won't damage the upholstery by ramming the legs of your child seat under the seat back. Basic safety kit includes traction control and front and side airbags for front seat passengers, plus a slew of stability systems designed to keep you pointing in the right direction. Notable in its absence though is autonomous tech like emergency city braking, adaptive cruise control, and lane keep assistance, or even brighter LED headlamps. Decent headroom all round. Front passengers have more legroom than rear. Doors open out and up to aid getting in and out. They look very dramatic. Boot space isn't world-beating, but you'll be able to pack a good amount of luggage, and headroom is reasonably good all round but more restricted in the rear. This is largely down to a hunkered-down seating position front and back, plus a stepped roofline in the rear which frees up space. The back seats are reasonably capacious once you squeeze in through the small door opening, and passengers aft are separated by a lofty transmission tunnel. Space is plentiful up front, although you'll feel cocooned in by the tall center console. There isn't a huge amount of storage space, with just a single small and ineffective cup holder and cubby in the center console up front, and 2 cup holders plus a larger storage box in the back. The door bins are long but also a bit narrow and shallow, so anything larger than a small bottle of water will be better in the boot or rear footwell. Rear seat passengers also get their own air conditioning controls, which can be overridden using the front switches on the center console. Visibility out of the Rapide is hampered by the sleek design, which features reduced height side windows and a steeply raked windscreen. Rearward vision is at least boosted by a reversing camera, but it's far from the highest definition unit we've seen. That elegant and sleek design does a good job of minimizing the dimensions of the Rapide, but this is a long car measuring more than 5 meters from bumper to bumper. Still, it's not overly wide, so on the road it feels relatively petite. You'll only notice its size when you come to reverse park it in a supermarket parking bay. Slinky 4-seater coupes with an additional row of chairs don't usually offer huge amounts of luggage space, but the Rapide is not too bad. Its 317 liters puts it on par with the Super Mini. There's enough room back there for 3 or 4 overnight bags, but the floor itself is stepped rather than flat, so you'll have to think carefully about how you pack it. Aston Martin will sell you a set of bags that fit precisely, making the most of the available room. Thankfully the hatchback tailgate opens fully, so getting things in and out is easy enough, although it has to be lifted manually as there's no powered option. You can also pay extra for folding rear seat backs, which free up a bit more room for longer items when you only need to transport 1 passenger.